Hello, my name is Sean Wilkerson. I've had previously discussed my theory or recommendations for what to do for the graphics card shortages. You can take a look at those. I'll link them up here to go back to the previous videos. Now, here we are, we're on the precipice of another release. It's going to happen within days, supposedly by the end of the month. I want to give a few ideas or my thoughts on what to buy and who should buy what. Basically, we're going to break these down into three categories. Everyday users, which are basically web browsing, throwing some emails out, and doing some other light things on a computer. You don't spend a lot of time on a computer. You're not really into gaming too much, and etc. etc. I would suggest a 3060 Ti for you, somewhere around, and let's do dollar points. I believe this says suggested retail for NVIDIA. We're going to use the NVIDIA MSRPs. That's going to be our anchor points, and we'll discuss that in a minute. 3060 Ti, I believe, is around $500 MSRP. For the next group of people that play games, they're not gamers. There's a difference between gamers and people who play games. People who play games probably split the usage of their computers between schoolwork, working from home, gaming, and various and sundry other things. So for those types of people, I would suggest a 3080. The anchor point for that is $700 US. Now, if you're more into video development, you're more into professional scenarios, coding, and different things where you might need a little bit more power in your system, I would recommend a 3080 Ti. And those are supposed to be going to be around $1,000. So we have a $500,000 to $700,000 anchor point. I personally would, I'm not overly happy with some of the stuff I've heard about Zotac and PNYs. If I remember right, those are the people. When it comes to ASUS, MSI, Gigabyte, and EVGA, and all those, any of them that you can get, they perform close enough. Their temperature ratings are all that's a non-issue. 3080 is a 3080. A 3080 Ti is a 3080 Ti. A 3060 Ti is a 3060 Ti. There's not enough difference to overly make it complicated. Just keep it simple. We've already discussed the usage. Light usage, 3060 Ti's. Somewhere in the middle where you're balancing the two, gaming and just office work from home, schoolwork, etc. Stay around a 3080. I understand 3070s are coming out. I don't know anything about the 3070s, and realistically, there's really not a lot of reason to jump into there. I think I'm just going to stay with the three that I've said: 3060 Ti, a 3080, and a 3080 Ti. Now, anchor points: the $500,000, the $700,000 anchor points. Decide up front what you're allowing yourself to spend. If you're on the low end, there's absolutely no reason for you to be spending above $600. Because once you're above that, you might as well go to the 3080s and get more bang for your buck, etc., etc., etc. There again, at the $700 anchor point for 3080s, $200 puts you at $900. You're looking at $100 from your next anchor point. The reason I'm describing it this way is that we know MSRPs, the only company that's actually selling at MSRP is NVIDIA. And so the cards are available at that MSRP when you can find them. So I do not see the wisdom of buying those products outside of that $200 range. Now, I've seen some speculation that the prices of the first generation releases of the 3000 series, those prices are going to go up because the cards are going to be more sought after because they do both mining as well as gaming. Now, in my thinking, now I could be wrong, time will tell. I do not believe we're going to have the discussion for 4000 series. I do not believe, even if NVIDIA comes up with a whole separate line of product for just mining, and it does double the hash rate to a 3080 and a 3080 Ti and a 3090, etc. Double the hash rate. Either way, in a 4000 series, what are they going to do with all those 3080s? They're just trash. Just like Linus Tech Tip, Steve over at Gamers Nexus has said, they're just e-waste. And I think that's going to come back and it's not going to work. There is an increasing number of people that are using 3080s. Yes, those of us want to go buy them, we can. But that's not because they're not completely available. The Steam stat says otherwise. It says that 3080s or the 3000 series are being bought. They are being used. The percentage of usage for the 3080s is going up, while the 2000s and 1000s is going down. There is a transition going on with the cards. People are buying them. The issue isn't mining. The issue isn't scalpers. The issue is a lack of product availability, which goes back to the silicone issue. And if they could get silicone, now we have the Taiwanese manufacturing plants can't get the water to run the fabs. Don't get wrapped all up into that. If you can, first off, decide your maximum dollar you're going to spend. And use those anchor points. 500, 700, 1,000. So at most, for a 1080 Ti, I would recommend spending $1,200. That should have enough room for ASUS, MSI, Gigabyte, EVGA, etc., the various and sundry card companies, to mark theirs up, but still be within that limit. That way, you already know you already have that set aside. If your max value is $900, then you're looking at buying a 3080 product or a 3060 Ti. See, you can buy anything that's lower. Just be careful that you're not buying into a category that's too far down to where you're not going to get the performance that you need. When the 3070s are released in this here next couple of weeks, or we don't know exactly when that is, when those cards are released, then that may open this up for further discussion as far as, okay, 3060 Ti's, we'll just set that to the side because there's not a lot of room in there for those price points if you pay attention. If we have a $500 and we have a $700, that means they're putting this other one right here at $6. That's an assumption. We will find out what they're going to do. We'll find out if they're going to readjust all the MSRPs because, as I've been saying for months, when I was talking about NVIDIA's true intention, that's what TI in my mind stands for, they may very well decide, okay, our 3060 Ti's are now going to be at this MSRP, 3070 is going to be plus $200, the 3080s are going to be plus 200, and the 3080 Ti's are going to be another plus 200. Assuming. We don't know. The only thing that's keeping them from doing that right now is the AMD products are actually pretty decent. And so there's not a lot of room there for NVIDIA to play around like that because people just jump ship and they'll just buy an AMD product. And the next generation of AMD products, that's going to be quite interesting because the way AMD, their technological prowess is increasing from one generation of their products to the next. The next generation, they're probably going to be quite on par with each other. We will see. So if I was to name names, I would only personally be looking for NVIDIA Founders Edition products. That would be my target product. Why? Because of price. Why is price significant? Because at most, I'd probably be wanting to use this card for a year and a half. We've already used up many months of the life cycle of the card before the next generation's release. And if AMD releases their next generation when the rumor's saying, then we're kind of needing, if you need a graphics card, you need to get the cheapest thing right now that's going to work for you. Don't get emotionally attached to it. I've got that in a video also. All said and done, it's a commodity. And realistically speaking, a 2000 series card will run even Cyberpunk 2077. So don't get too attached to this 3000 series cards. When the 4000 series are impending, we'll know probably later in the year, early next year when those are coming out. If you've got a hole in your computer that requires a graphics card, find the cheapest card at the performance level you're needing, discussed earlier in this video, and just get on with your life. It is that kind of simple, and I hope this helps. There again, that's summarize everything. Low-end users, 3060 Ti's. Those are people who just use the computer for a couple hours a day. They're not really doing a lot of stuff. Believe it or not, a lot of students will be able to use that too. When you start adding in gaming and a little bit more work on your computers, faster graphics cards typically means things may get done faster depending on what you're doing. So let's jump into the 3090. Yeah, 3080 at that point. Skip 3090s. No 3090s. If you are more professional based and you do things that are more intensive, like NVIDIA, video encoding, especially when you use an NVEC or something like that, then I would strongly suggest a 3080 Ti. Founders Edition, straight across the board. Add $200 from those anchor points we discussed earlier. There's your market. That's what you look for. Any card from any manufacturer, grab it and have fun. We'll catch you in the next video.